Imagine seeing your biggest regret every day in the mirror. That essentially sums up face tattoos. It's created cringeworthy moments, lost job opportunities, and in some cases, even landed people behind bars. This is the story of 6 times face tattoos went horribly wrong. First up, Jason Hoganson. Jason was a rising Hollywood star in the 80s, but a downward spiral of substance addiction changed all of that drastically. In the next couple of decades that followed, he began committing a series of crimes which landed him in jail multiple times. Jason eventually started sleeping on the streets, all the while tattooing a bunch of scribbles on his face. Now these face tattoos would ultimately come back to haunt him, cause as fate would have it, one night he missed his bus. So instead of waiting for another one to come by, Jason broke into a house nearby. He helped himself to the closet, stealing a jacket and hat. Then when he was discovered by the homeowner, Jason casually asked him for a cigarette before fleeing the scene. But because of his very recognizable face tattoos, once police were given a description of his appearance, this guy was quickly identified and arrested. Next, Michael Mann. Michael has a pretty deep resume when it comes to crime. He's been arrested over 54 times and somehow just never learns his lesson. In 2018, he kidnapped a woman and held her ransom for, wait for it, a whopping $100. Alright there, you big player, what are you gonna do with all that money? Anyways, just like that, he was instantly on the run from the law. But similar to a lot of the brilliant criminals I've talked about on this series, his face tattoos were his biggest downfall. He had 6ix9ine inked on the bottom of his lips, 2 kiss tattoos, a bunch of other nonsense all over his face, and the biggest giveaway of all, that massive black dollar sign that spanned right over his eye. So, within a matter of a month, the authorities tracked him down and sent him right back to prison. Listen, having a face full of tattoos and committing crime, then expecting not to get caught is the same as being a donkey and entering a lion's den and expecting not to get eaten. It's foolish. But let me tell you what isn't foolish, my friends, and that's subscribing to this channel, cause over here we literally talk about the craziest stuff. So do yourself and my turtle Summy Jr. a huge favor and subscribe with the bell notifications on. Up next, Marcus Miller, the botched hair tattoo. Marcus was battling cancer and had to undergo chemotherapy treatment, but as an unfortunate side effect to the chemo, he ended up losing his hair permanently. So our friend made the decision to visit a tattoo artist in order to ink his head and give off a black stubble effect. You know, many people have already done this before successfully, so what could go wrong? Well, for one, not going to the right person. The individual he went to charged him 250 pounds and ended up completely botching the tattoo. Marcus was left with a big blob of heavy blue ink on his head. And he may have cheaped out for the tattoo, but in the aftermath of this major disaster, Marcus dropped thousands of dollars on special wigs to hide his head. Not to mention, if he didn't want to wear those wigs, he had to resort to wearing hats everywhere he went. So ultimately, now he has to go through the super painful route of laser tattoo removal. Next, Tilly Whitefield, freckle tattoo gone wrong. Homemade freckle tattoo videos are trending like crazy on TikTok. But this was one video Tilly wishes she never came across. After learning about a DIY freckle tattoo hack using ink and a sewing needle, Tilly immediately hopped on the trend, purchasing a random bottle of brown ink off of eBay. Right then and there, her biggest mistake was made, cause Tilly didn't really do much research on the brand of ink, and the video she watched didn't specify what kind they used. So essentially, she was making a blind purchase. And it so happened that this particular ink was nothing but a counterfeit, and to make matters worse, it contained high levels of lead. As a result, she was hospitalized, losing her vision temporarily, along with swelling and sickness caused by the infection. And since then, Tilly spent over $12,000 in doctor fees trying to fix the damages that's been done. But unfortunately, doctors told her they won't be able to help her with the scars that remain after the tattoo. Next, Lawrence Sullivan, the Joker wannabe. Lawrence blacked out the portions around his eyes, tattooed stitches on his cheeks, and has the word Joker on his forehead. One day, police began getting a few calls about a man with green hair and a bunch of face tattoos waving a gun at drivers outside of an apartment complex. It didn't take them too long to find the culprit, as in, how the hell would this guy be able to go unnoticed looking like that? Anyways, right after they arrested him, police say the weapon he was carrying was fully loaded. But regardless, he wasn't locked up for too long. Next up, Allison Allen. After a really bad breakup, Allison was left in a dark place and felt extremely depressed. So, in order to show the pain she was feeling on the inside, this woman went to a tattoo shop and got a cheap $60 skull and bones inked on her cheeks. All she wanted to do at that point was ruin her own life on purpose. However, dark times don't always last. And in 2020, after fixing her mental state and launching her own business, Allison's life began to turn around and there was a new light at the end of the tunnel. However, there was still the problem about the face tattoo. She constantly got comments from people criticizing her and calling it thuggish. So she made the decision of spending around $1,700 to get rid of something that cost $60. Alright, now it's your turn. Let me know which one of these people had the worst face tattoos. Anyways, you know what to do. Smash that like button, run those numbers up, and I'll see you guys back here next Saturday with a brand new video. Peace.